Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly webinar, mapping out your week ahead. Of course, a special welcome goes to new people. I hope you're enjoying your weekend and getting some energy. We're going to have a very busy and exciting week with a lot of events, a lot of reports, and we'll talk about it today. A few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. My overall trading experience is about 24 years. The first 11 years, I was a prop trader back in New York City. And after that, I moved into different way of trading and started to mentor and educate other traders. And I'm very happy to have a great opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar, we'll talk as usual, we talk about indices, stocks, commodities, and Forex. And I forgot to mention simple words, especially for new people. I like to quote what traders like to say: you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. It just brings more order to your trading, less chaos, less impulsivity, and possibly better results. So today we'll be talking about, in a few words, what happened last week, how market reacted to it. We'll talk about the upcoming week and events. We'll go through economic calendar. We'll take a look at some earnings of some major stocks that did happen last week. We'll talk about a few stocks that are reporting this week. And of course, we'll go through different assets in commodities and Forex as well. Risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com website. Everything we do here is purely educational. Of course, we do not suggest any trades. Now, social media of AvaTrade, you have Telegram, you have X, which used to be Twitter, and my favorite YouTube channel where you can find a lot of information. Please subscribe, follow us. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to click the likes, feel free to share. Definitely, I suggest for you to sign up or to subscribe and click on that bell so you'll be notified on new things. We're adding information on a daily basis. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, it would be great to hear from you. Write your comments, write your questions. We always try to improve things. Okay, so few things. Definitely, we heard about this issue that happened with the CrowdStrike update of the software, and a lot of companies suffered. So this is a nice article here. You can find it at marketwatch.com. This is published by Barron's. Basically, it says here that those companies were sensitive to it, and that means that S&P could be sensitive to a down move as well. Another thing is another article here: stock market earnings blow up, user's guide. We'll talk about in details about few stocks that did report earnings last week when we get to that. And I'll give you details. I'm gonna read or quote some parts of this article. Also, I suggest to you to find it and read. Very interesting. Now, also since we had the PCE number on Friday, we're still on course to interest rate cuts on September meeting. This week we have another meeting. It looks like almost 100% probability there's no change, but focus is on the September meeting, and the numbers are coming down a little bit. Actually, we had more than 90% probability before the PCE number, and now it's about 88% probability, which is also high. So the focus is again on the interest rate cut from the Feds for the September meeting. Now this week we have 3 interest rate decisions: US, UK, and Japan. It's going to be a very full week, a lot of announcements. You could see when we get to economic calendar, the font is really small. I had to minimize it to fit the presentation. So I apologize for that, but it's still readable here. Here we go. So economic calendar. Again, a few words about the economic calendar, especially for new people. This is public information. You can find it on our web trader or the app. Also, a lot of providers, you can just Google if you'd like. You can filter it. You can choose what's relevant to your trading. What I do here, I just take the high impact events. Otherwise, it wouldn't fit the presentation at all. So the most important things for this week, let's go through it quickly. So Tuesday, we have retail sales from Australia, GDP numbers from Germany and European Union as a whole. Wednesday, we have CPI numbers from Australia. We have manufacturing PMI from China, which is important. China is in focus, as has been showing signs of weakness, and we'll take a look at it when we get there. Also, interest rate decision from Bank of Japan. They don't post the time and the press conference following. By the way, the times here are in GMT. You can find and set it up whatever fits your area. Now, so Bank of Japan, the yen has been acting strongly. We'll take a look when we get there. That pushes also the Nikkei, the Japanese index, to the downside. So this is an important announcement from Bank of Japan. Retail sales from Germany. We have CPI numbers from European Union. We have ADP employment numbers from US. That's kind of a preview or a little bit of a taste what NFPs will be showing, and that's later on Friday. So that's now Fed's decision. That's the meeting on the 31st, the upcoming meeting of Fed's rate decision. As we said, expected to stay the same statement. And the most important thing, as usual, it's 30 minutes after the decision. There's a press conference where Jerome Powell would be drilled with all the questions, so everybody's watching to his reaction and the wording and everything else. So that's on Wednesday. Thursday, we have trade balance from Australia. We have manufacturing PMI, another report from China. We have interest rate decision and reports and the speech from UK. Very, very important. As you could see here, the planning or the expectation is the rate cut by 25 basis points. So last week we had the rate cut from Canada as planned. So as you could see, the central banks are starting the process of tightening, of cutting the rate slowly. Okay, so that's UK interest rate decision with the speech. Manufacturing PMI from US, CPI numbers from Switzerland, and here's a non-farm payroll and all the employment data coming on Friday. Usually it's the first Friday of the month, so that's important. So as you could see, the week is filled with important events. You have interest rate decisions, you have CPI numbers, you have NFPs from the States. So it's going to be a busy week. Okay, let's move into the platform. And we'll start with indices, then we'll go into the stocks. So I'll like I promised, I'm going to quote some results from the stocks that reported last week. Okay, so indices, we'll go through them really quick. China, as you could see, as I mentioned, as we all know, the economy there is not doing great. That this meeting of the leadership, and they came up with some solutions. Meanwhile, the index is in a down trend. We did have a nice move to the upside. We hit the previous resistance, failed to go higher, came right back where we started at. So we're currently at the very strategic level here of support. We are below all the 3 moving averages here, and there's a possibility of continuation to the downside. These numbers definitely will add either positive or negative to it. And with China, as you know, as regular, I mentioned 4 assets. That's oil, copper, and 2 currency pairs. They call them commodity currencies. So Let's take a quick look at oil. We'll talk deeply about it later. So oil is down, copper is down, and Australian and New Zealand dollar both are down as well. There's a strong move to the downside, and New Zealand dollar is even weaker. So between two of them, Australian and New Zealand, Australian dollar is stronger than New Zealand dollar. So that's China. Now, Japan, as we said, with the build-up of the strength of the yen, we had extended sell-off after a nice move to the upside in the Japanese Nikkei. We did bounce of this level here around 37,300. Let's see how this week plays out. Now, U.S. indices, there was a big sell-off in the past week, past 2 weeks, I would say. Let's take a quick look what's happening here. I'm going to start with the strongest. Here's Dow Jones, actually. Had a nice move on Friday. All the indices actually bounced on Friday. Dow Jones was really strong. And it's actually due to two stocks making a nice move. That's Salesforce and United Health. We'll take a look at them when we get to the stocks. So Dow Jones actually finished the week in a positive territory, unlike NASDAQ and S&P. So NASDAQ here had pretty much 3 consecutive red weeks, especially the past 2. Strong sell-off. And take a look, I just purposely put the Fibonacci retracement here. And if you take this move beginning after the sell-off of April, we came all the way on 11th of July to almost 21,000. And since then, we retraced about 50% of that move. And as you could see, we stopped right there. So interesting what's going to happen this week with all the announcements. So that's NASDAQ. Again, Friday we had the bounce. Prior to that, it was a strong sell-off there. And S&P's similar story, 2 consecutive weeks to the downside. Germany, we had Friday bounce here after the 2 previous days of a sell-off. France, congratulations to France. We officially started the Olympics Day in Paris. I don't know if you watched the opening. I did. It was colorful. So here we go. Bounce on Friday after 3 days of sell-off. It looks like we're holding this previous level around 74.59. And again, we have a lot of numbers and decisions this week. UK, the FTSE, after the break below it, the next 2 days we had a nice move to the upside. So we're back above this level of support around 81.80. And now we're facing the immediate resistance of the end of June. And the high here was around 83.55. So we are back in this channel that's been going for a while. You could see we entered back to this channel the end of May, and we had few tails and few closings below. Not so much though. The main actions has been happening within the channel, so it definitely a build up going on here. Let's see which way we're going to shoot, either up or down on the UK. Russell together with Dow Jones been strong. It's been actually confirming the previous high almost on Friday. That's the small cap index been in play. A lot of, like I mentioned last week, a lot of talks on Wall Street about rotation from the tech stocks into the small caps. And we can see clearly here on the charts that after being really behind the whole game, the small caps are really in favor now. Okay, so that's all about indices, and let's go to stocks. And I'm going to start. I'm going to start with actually Salesforce and United Health. Take a look. After a huge sell-off, have been going higher here on the Salesforce symbol CRM. There's some good news. They are teaming up with another company trying to implement AI into employment management. That's fundamental. Technically, it looks like we're trying to close this gap. And so that's one. The Salesforce and United Health has been super, super strong lately. As you could see, all this move up actually added a lot of value into Dow Jones. Here we go. We had few tails. So far, we could consider this closing here as immediate resistance, and that's 572.69. Let's see, 572.69. So that's our immediate resistance. We'll try to go higher, but the tails fail to continue. So that's the two stocks that really pushing the Dow Jones higher. Now, important numbers. So with the PCE numbers on Friday, we still have big loss, especially in the Magnificent Seven group. And just to give you numbers that, according to Dow Jones market data, this week, the collective loss of this group of stocks, by the way, I'll just read them to you just in case. Magnificent Seven, currently that's something that used to be another group. There were changes in names and so on. You remember FANG, right? FANG group, so it's a little bit different now. So you have Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta Platforms, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Those are the 7 major stocks. So the past week, they lost collectively 540 billion of market capitalization. And since July 8th, all of them together lost $1.5 trillion in market cap. So that's a significant move, just to take that into consideration. Okay, now let's go through the stocks that reported, like I mentioned to you in the article on the earning reports, and I'm gonna just quote from that article. Okay, so we start with Tesla. Go back to MT4. It's actually here. So Tesla, as you could see, there was a gap with the earnings. So I'm going to read here. Tesla dropped 12.3% after reporting second quarter numbers on Tuesday evening. On the surface, the quarter looked weak. Tesla reported adjusted earnings per share of 52 cents, while Wall Street was looking for 61 cents, according to FactSet. Okay, that was from that article. So what's next with Tesla? So we know the 200 level is the key level here. We are holding after this sell-off. We're holding around 215 to 20. Let's see how this week will bring. Of course, the general conditions of the market affects each individual stocks as well. So that's on Tesla reaction to earnings. Next one is Ford. As you could see here, and I'm quoting again from the article, Ford reported second quarter operating profits of 2.8 billion, about 900 million lower than the Wall Street projected. All of the miss was essentially related to increased warranty spending. Ford says it's had some quality problems with 2021 model year vehicles and older. Okay, so that's a strong drop here. You could see. Let's zoom out a little bit. As you could see here on the weekly, in 1 week we erased the previous 5 weeks of move to the upside. So Ford definitely has to work on the quality, as it says here, that they spend a lot of warranty spending. So I mean, Ford was never famous for quality, unfortunately. I guess that's kind of normal. but the stock suffered a lot here. Okay, Ford, next one. A continuation of Ford here. I'm going to continue reading. I missed the share dropped 18.4% on Thursday. It was the worst one-day drop since November 2008. That reaction shows investors and analysts had no clue about what was coming. The lowest operating profit estimates aggregated by the fact set was 2.9 billion. Ford's result was a shock, shaking investor confidence. End of quote. So that's a strong statement there. GM, and I'm quoting again from the article, GM reported better than expected second quarter numbers Tuesday morning. The company raised guidance and quarter drew mostly positive comments from Wall Street analysts. Still, shares dropped more than 6% in response. This was the drop here. Nothing was really wrong. Car pricing held up better than expected, and the profit of the second half of 2024 is shaping up exactly as Wall Street modeled. Coming into the week of trading, GM stock was up roughly 80% from November lows set close to when the new UAW labor contract was ratified. Okay. I mean, we spoke about it a while ago. If you remember that some automakers had issued that that the workers were on strike for a while. So I guess here we go from November to the recent highs. That was 80% move. So of course, the 6% drop, it could be normal. So despite the good numbers, the stock went down. Another one was Google or Alphabet, and I'm going to quote from the article again. Stock also dropped 5% on Wednesday after reporting better than expected earnings on Tuesday evening. The issue ostensibly was higher than expected capital spending related to AI. That isn't a bad thing, though. Slowing spending on AI would be a much bigger problem for Alphabet. Right, here we go, Alphabet, Google. Good earnings, more spending than expected. Stock dropped and continued dropping, with sitting right on 100 moving average. So those are the reports from last week. Now this week is full of reports. We have about 160 out of 500 companies of S&P 500 reporting this week. So I'm going to read to you a few names. Tuesday, Advanced Micro Devices, American Tower, Electronic Arts, Merck, Microsoft, PayPal Holdings, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, and Starbucks. That's on Monday. On Wednesday, sorry, that's on Tuesday, those stocks that I just read to you. On Wednesday, ARM Holdings, Boeing, eBay, Etsy, Lam Research, Marriott International, MasterCard, Meta Platforms, Qualcomm, and Western Digital. That's Wednesday. Thursday, we have Amazon, Apple, Biogen, Booking Holdings, ConocoPhillips, Intel, and Moderna. Now, these are just among the stocks that are reporting. As I said, it's going to be about 160 of them. And Friday, we have Chevron and ExxonMobil. So let's just go through a few of the stocks that just read, the major ones. So we can take a look. So Tuesday, we have Microsoft. Let's take a quick look how they look so far. Here we go. Microsoft is sold with the market. Friday, it bounced way up below the 100 moving average here. The earnings are coming out on Tuesday. Pfizer. Here we go. Pfizer, actually, we didn't speak about it for a while, and I totally missed the whole move. Take a look. It's been super strong lately. You can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive weeks to the upside, and we are above this previous resistance here. The Pfizer looks strong here. Now earnings will definitely add to the positive things or subtract from it. Let's take a look what happens there. So that's Microsoft and Pfizer. Let's take a look at stocks they're reporting on Wednesday. One of them is Boeing. As you know, Boeing had a lot of issues with, on their planes, physical issues that caused damage. Here we go. It looks like we build up around 179, and with the sell-off of the market, Boeing didn't go lower. It's been sitting here in this tight range, and let's see what the earnings will bring to the stock. Meta Platforms, Facebook, former Facebook, still Facebook. It's been trading weird. When I see these spikes with the tails, it's a lot of chaos here. After making this high on July 5th, we've been just dropping with gaps, going up with gaps, and I guess the earnings are important. We'll see what happens with earnings. Thursday, Amazon and Apple. Here comes Amazon. We are holding this 179, 178 area after hitting 200 back in July. So that's Amazon. Let's see what the earnings will do to the stock. I mean, if we judge by the previous week, as you could see, even with good earnings, the stocks went down. Maybe that trend will continue. Maybe the opposite will happen. So that's Amazon. Apple. Where's Apple? Here we go. Apple stock has been sitting below 220. That's the resistance that we had on June 12th. Then we moved higher, came right below it, and sitting tight here into the earnings. So definitely Thursday is going to be big for Apple, as well as for Intel. Intel had a nice try since a base around $30. We had a nice move, hitting the high of 37.10 on the 17th of July. Since then, we went straight back down. We are below all the three moving averages here. So for now, at least we know that the previous support was around $30. Let's see what the earnings bring. Just to remind me, last quarter earnings caused a huge drop in the stock when the CEO said that they're a little bit far from being in profits. They spent a lot on new plants and so on. So earnings for Intel is very important this week. And of course, the oil-related stocks are in play on Friday or before that. We have ExxonMobil and Chevron reporting. Interestingly enough, on the oil going lower, the stocks actually went up the last 3 days. This is the Exxon, and Chevron did similar move, a little bit on the weaker scale. So those are the stocks that are, again, just to remind us, 160 stocks out of S&P 500 are reporting. We went through a few major ones, and let's see if we continue this trend of a sell-off on earnings, or we're going to bounce here. And of course, that will affect the market and vice versa. The general market conditions will also dictate where the stocks are going. So let's move to commodities, and most of the commodities actually show a lot of weakness. We'll start with oil. You remember I mentioned with China, oil has been selling, and also together with China, there's a major concern on demand or level of the demand. Take a look. Oil, after switching to a new contract, we are lower. We're holding around 76. Let's see how this week will play for oil. There's a lot of tension. On the other hand, in the Middle East, over the weekend, there were some unfortunate events where some kids got killed by the rocket launch from Lebanon, and we might see some retaliation in the upcoming days from Israel. We'll see that might increase tension, or definitely will increase the tension, but it might add to some concern on the supply. So we'll watch oil. Natural gas, has been selling. Actually, the whole sell-off started back in June after a nice move to the upside, which ended around 315. And since then, we've been sliding lower, and we did close below 2, a little bit below 2 though. Psychological level, we could say 199. So let's see if this move continues. If we might retest 191 area. That's where after a little bit of a base, we start moving higher. Or if we go straight back above 2 and start building support, we might actually continue higher. That's natural gas. Now, copper is the other one that affected by China. As I mentioned, copper has been selling. This past week, we've been trading below 200 moving average here. Let's see how this week will play. Should we see any changes in Chinese market? As of now, we are holding, this is the Chinese index. We're holding the support here. Let's see how things play out. Gold, after holding steadily here around 2,400, on Thursday we broke down. We went as low as 23.53, and then Friday we had the bounce from right here, 50-day moving average here, and we ended up closing at 23.86. We're about 14 points away from that 2,400 level, which was playing as a support until now. Let's see how this week will play out. Palladium has been continued being weak. We did try bounce back on Wednesday to the upside, but then Thursday and Friday brought us down. That's on palladium. Cocoa and sugar, as we've been watching it for a while now. Cocoa, after making these huge swings, the moves are getting tighter. We are currently trading between 7,700 and 8,500 or 8,600. It's the $1,000 range, which is a lot, 1,000 points. But considering these swings here, as you can see, we're getting tighter, maybe preparing for the major move. The question is, as they say, $1 million question is which way. So we are holding this 7,700 area. We are between the 150 and the 200. So we're above the 200 still, but below the 150-day moving average here. Let's see how this week will play for cocoa. And sugar, this past week was weak, came all the way to confirm the support of May 16th. We did have a little tail below, but then Thursday we bounced nicely, erasing the 3 days of sell-off. And then Friday was a little bit of a red day, giving away roughly 25, maybe 30% from that move. So for now, gives us a feeling, again, nothing in stone, that the support of around $18 it's holding. What's the low here? $17.95. So far it's holding here. Let's see if this Thursday move was real. We might actually starting to move higher and retesting the previous resistance levels. Now grains, wheat, corn, and soybeans, they've been super weak. The sell-off continues. We just broke on, this is wheat. We broke this recent support on Friday. Let's see the weekly chart, what could be really hanging in the air here. If we continue lower, we might be coming to the level of 2020 of June. That's 4 years ago and a month. The low here was 468. We're closing on Friday at 522. So that's wheat. Clearly doesn't show any strength here. Corn as well. We did try the whole week, moving higher from these recent lows, and then Friday the sell-off erased almost all of that. So that's corn. At least here we're still within that recent support of around 389. And here comes the soybeans, similar to wheat. We did break the recent support. And on the weekly chart, we're also in the air. And here, it's hard to say. This is the monthly chart. We are looking super weak on soybeans as well. Just to remind us, there was a move up, recent move up when we spoke about it in one of the meetings here, that, excuse me, that Biden administration issued some tax benefits for farmers that grow soybeans and corn, as those products were used or are used in producing the fuel for the airplanes. I guess there's something fundamental. Maybe there's a surplus and supply. Maybe the demand is shrinking, but this is serious when you look at soybeans, corn, and wheat on the recent sell-off. Okay, that's it with commodities. We'll move to Forex, and we'll start with dollar index. As we said, dollar index is really waiting for something. It could be, I mean, not could be, it's definitely the idea of the interest rates, as this is the most sensitive event for the US dollar. So this week meeting, it looks like it's a closed deal, no change, but definitely the press conference will give us an idea as far as the next meeting and in general the monetary policy. So as of now, we are holding this 103, 104 area. After a few attempts to move lower, we came right back above the 104, and we are strongly holding there, even though we are, on Friday, we did close below the 200 moving average here. So that's dollar. Now, the strongest, one of the strongest currencies has been yen. We're going to start with yen. Take a look. Even on the steady dollar, we had a nice drop against the yen right into the 200 moving average and the support of May 3rd here. Interestingly, how the numbers are. So the low here was 151.85, and this one 185.93, but 8 pips higher and right on 200 moving average. So yen gaining that strength. It started here. This is when the US CPI numbers came, and it looks like it was an intervention of Bank of Japan, and then it continues gaining strength against the currencies. This is the Swiss franc. Australian and New Zealand dollar are the weakest against yen, and they're the weakest against other currencies, and that's due to China a lot. So this is Aussie JPY. This is NZD JPY. Here, we went all the way to the level of April, not even May. Take a look. We did touch that low and came right back. So around 90, the level of support for New Zealand JPY. Pound holding this previous support here against the yen, and euro is weak. So across the board, yen is super strong. And New Zealand dollar, it looks like is the weakest. Take a look. Against the US dollar, we had a huge drop here, almost coming to the level of beginning of May here, where the low was 0.5876, right? So again, dollar is steady. Euro is just the mirror image of that. Pound back below 129 after making a nice move to almost 130.50 here. As we said, yen is gaining strength, dollar is weaker against the yen. USD CAD moving higher. First of all, it's the interest rate cut from Canada added to the weakness of Canadian dollar, obviously. So this high of April 16, 138.45, we did play with it both on Thursday and Friday. so far we didn't manage to break up. Also, the weakness of oil, adding weakness to Canadian dollar, as we all know. There's a correlation between Canadian dollar and oil, as Canada as a producer and they sell oil as well. So that's as far as currencies. Again, we have interest rate decisions from Japan, UK, and US this week. We have NFP numbers. We have a lot of data, as we said, going through economic calendar. It's going to be an intense week. So we need to get ready for it. So that's as far as Forex. Now, the cryptocurrencies, it looks like we are above the 6,700. We did have a sell-off here, hitting the 50-day moving average here on the 25th. The low was here, 63,393. We bounced quickly from it, and currently we are trading above 6,700. The current price is 67,200. It looks like we are holding this support that played as a resistance before the huge sell-off here. So that's on Bitcoin. Let's see if that's 6,700 holds. Now, Ethereum, as we all know, this week, some ETFs started to trade. So I was doing a market review for my team, and I mentioned a few things about Ethereum. What's happening here, it's similar to what happened in Bitcoin when they were waiting SEC for approval of the ETFs for Bitcoin. First, it was a move up. Then right after the issuing of ETFs, it was a sell-off. And then we found the base and we start going higher. It looks like similar ideas happening here. And I compare it to the IPOs for the stock. It's a similar idea. They boost the price opens higher, then the sellers or the holders are getting out the positions, taking the profit, and then we'll find the base, we'll find the support or the real price from which we start moving higher again. So it looks like this is exactly what's happening in Ethereum. So all this boost up before the approval, then they started to trade this week, we went down. And as of now, we are sitting on the 200 moving average here. Let's see if this is the bottom. Maybe from here we might continue going higher. So those ETFs are trading, and that's in general positive to the instrument. Okay, so we'll continue watching Ethereum on that post ETF approval trading. Okay, so that's pretty much completes our review. Just to put it in few words, we had intense week past week with the PCE numbers, with the market sell-off, and then bouncing back up a little bit. Still a huge sell-off. The major 7 magnificent stocks, as we said, they lost together about $500 billion in the past week, and in the past 3 weeks they lost about $1.5 trillion among those 7 stocks. It looks like rotation is happening from the tech stocks to the small caps, as we said. Dow Jones is strong. It's the only one out of 3 that ended up positive on the week. We had few major stocks reporting and sliding lower, some more, some less. We have 160 stocks out of S&P 500 reporting this coming week. And as we said, the few majors reporting, among them is Microsoft, Pfizer, Meta Platform, Amazon, and Apple. So we'll definitely be watching those. We'll watch commodities. We'll watch yen, pound, and definitely US dollar. With this, we have 3 interest rate decisions this week. I want to wish everyone a peaceful and positive weekend. Get some energy. Prepare yourself. It's going to be a great an eventful and exciting week. All the best. We'll see you next Sunday, God willing. All the best. Take care.